All right, let's take a look at Hamilton's method. You can also find this in your e-textbook. It's chapter 13, section 3. But we're going to go over an example here, and then you are going to work on the 10 examples that follow. Some of them do not have your totals, so you need to make sure, for example, like this one doesn't have your total, so you need to make sure that you add those up. And then others of them will have the allocation in the body of the paragraph, and some of them will have them over to the side. All right, let's take a look at this example. We have a population of Florence Falconville, and there's 4 districts within this particular city. And we want to find out how many people do each representative essentially represent. And then you also want to know how many representatives go towards each district. So this is very much the process, one of the processes that you could use to allocate representatives for the House of Representatives. Okay, so the first thing we need to know is our standard divisor. And we have talked about a standard divisor earlier before this. Our standard divisor is equal to our total population over our allocation. Okay, so in this case, we have our total population of 1890 and our allocation of 30 representatives, so divided by 30. So 1890 divided by 30 gives us 63. So this is our standard divisor. So this is how many people, I guess in thousands, right, represent each group. There's 63,000 people that each single representative represents. So what we're going to do from here is to take each of these and divide by 63. And that will give us what we call our standard quota. And I'm going to put our standard quota down here in this chart, right? So standard quotas, that is our group divided by the standard divisor. All right, so the first thing to do is 275 divided by 63, and that gives me 4.37. Now you want to carry these into 2 decimal places because we're going to be doing something with those decimals. 383 divided by 63 gives me 6.08. 465 divided by 63 gives me 7.38. And 767 divided by 63 gives me 12.14. All right, and if I wanted to, I could go ahead and add those up, and that should actually match my allocation, right? All right, so with Hamilton, what we do is we take what we call our lowers or our lower quotas. And what that means is we are only looking at the digit to the left of the decimal, and we're carrying those down. So we're not rounding at all. We're just looking at that number, and we're getting that number written down. So this would be 4, 6, 7, and 12. Now what we do here is we definitely want to add those up. And we have 4 plus 6 plus 7 plus 12 gives me 29. I want it to match 30. And we have a surplus of 1, meaning that there's 1 short of our total allocation. So the way that Hamilton adds that additional surplus is Hamilton then starts to look at just the decimal side of the numbers. It doesn't matter how big the numbers are, but on the decimal side, what is the largest decimal? So if we only have 1 to give back, we only look at 1. If we have 2 to give back, we look at our top 2. So our 1 is going to be this one right here, right? So this is our largest. And so this 7 is actually going to get an additional allocation, so that will become 8. Then everything else we just bring down exactly as is, and then when we add it all up, it equals 30. So there are 2 things. One is you're going to practice the Hamilton method on this sheet and the back side. And I've given you a framework to be able to do that. So, and I divided them by our sports groups. So you have a framework. Yes, it does have a lot more columns than you need, but I wanted to make sure you had plenty in case you wanted to write any notes or anything on the side. Okay, so that's going to be your framework, and that's what you're going to be able to turn in. On Pearson, there are two assignments you're going to do. One is called allocation, and the other one is called Hamilton and Jefferson. And I would wait on the Hamilton and Jefferson until we go over the Jefferson. But what they want when you actually answer those questions, they want just this last piece. When they ask you for the allocation, they just want the whole numbers at the end. We kind of use a couple intermediary steps just so that we understand kind of what's going on. But Pearson just wants the answers. Okay, good luck. And we'll see you in the next video for Jefferson method.